Good morning and welcome to the daily cyber briefing for Tuesday, the 27th of February. I'm Stephen Ridgway and I've even remembered to switch my headset on. WordPress, there's a WordPress plugin alert. There's a critical SQL injection vulnerability threatening 200,000 or more WordPress sites using the Ultimate Member plugin. The vulnerability is being tracked as CVE 2024-1071 with a CVSS score of 9.8 out of 10. So it is looking quite serious. I believe that there are patches available, so as always, and we've said it before, just check, even if you have set your WordPress environments to auto update. It is definitely worth checking that it has actually happened. If you're using this particular plugin, definitely now is the time to check which is check that the patches have been applied. The version you're aiming for is 2.8.3, was released on February the 19th, actually. So yeah, the Hacker News has got a decent explanation of how this works. You will be able, I think, to pull from there potentially some indicators of compromise or indicators of attack to get into. Hopefully you're picking up your web logs in your security visibility tooling or your SIEM, then you'll be able to see what's going on there. Zyxel has patched a remote code execution bug in its firewall products. So the vulnerabilities which have been addressed in this particular advisory are CVE 2023-6397, which is a vulnerability in some firewall versions that could allow a LAN-based attacker to cause denial of service conditions. There is 2023-6398 post authentication command injection vulnerability, 2023-6399 format string vulnerability could allow authenticated IPsec VPN users to DDoS the device, and 2023-6764 format string vulnerability function in the IPsec VPN feature. So if you're using those devices, patches available definitely address those ASAP. Now, I came across an interesting article on Bleeping Computer this morning, which talks about a particular group being tracked as UAC 0184, which is actually utilizing steganography in order to deliver malware, a remote access Trojan. It is, we believe, or it is believed to be a Russian-based group, and they have been seen to be attacking Ukrainian entity operating in Finland. So, why is this interesting? Well, I'm sure if you've done any cybersecurity courses over the years, you will have come across the concept of hiding stuff in pictures. And the way that works is, if you take something like a JPEG, the JPEG is not a perfect rendition of the actual picture. It relies on the fact that your eyes will only differentiate colors and patterns at a certain level of resolution. So you can make changes to certain bits within a picture, and it won't be possible, or it shouldn't be possible, for a human looking at that picture to tell the difference between the one which has the embedded data and the original. There are tools that you can use. I'm sure we've all played with them. There's some great labs out there around identifying this stuff. There's some great tools out there which will allow you to delve into how these things. Because there are various ways these things can be hidden, but there we are. It is, though, I'd have to say, fairly rare to see this stuff being done in the real world. And I think the only places I've actually seen it being done are more to do with data exfiltration. Although these days, I think most people just squirt the data out from the remote access Trojan that they've left lying around as part of your ransomware attack. But historically, if you wanted to get sensitive stuff out, this was a relatively reasonable way of doing it. The volume of data that could be exfiltrated was relatively small, though. However, I don't recall ever seeing it being used to distribute malware before. So if you are interested in this, there is a good write-up in Bleeping Computer that talks about the methods used, and again, will provide some things that you can look for in the ways of indicators of attack, indicators of compromise. Some stuff you can script up in your SIEM and go off and do some threat hunting on. But yeah, it's an interesting implementation of something which I think a lot of cybersecurity professionals would put into the category of theoretical, rarely ever seen. So yeah, I thought you'd find that interesting. And then to finish up today, there are a couple of new, a framework and some new advice that has been released. So I'm sure you're all aware of the NIST cybersecurity framework. So NIST is the US National Institute of Standards and Technology, and it has updated its cybersecurity framework, the CSF. Version 2, it's tailored to cater for a broader range of audiences spanning various industry sectors. So the original NIST, I like the NIST framework, personally. There's a couple of reasons. One is that it's extremely comprehensive. Once you get delving into the recommendations from NIST, there are there's almost everything you could possibly ever want to develop a process for or understand how to secure. There will be something from NIST that explains how to do it. It is focused, the previous version, prior to this release, it was very focused on US federal agencies. Which makes a lot of sense because it was developed in the US to protect US federal agencies. Very, very usable though outside. It's broader than stuff like ISO 27001. I'm probably going to start a flame war, but there we go. I see it as something that is broader and deeper than most of the other frameworks. Excuse me. Most of the other frameworks that are around. So it's interesting to see that version 2 is now out, and they have recognised the usefulness to organisations outside of US federal agencies. So basically, it focuses on comprehensive risk management, integrated governance, adaptive risk management, and security conscious culture. So definitely worth looking into. Should be aware of it if you are working in the industry, but it's worth looking at what the differences are from things you may previously know. If you are thinking about implementing a framework in your organization and you want something which is incredibly comprehensive, this is a good framework to work towards. It isn't certified, so it's not like ISO 27001. in that sense. However, it is broader, it is deeper, and I think most importantly, all of the documentation is free. So definitely have a look at that. And then at the other end of the scale, NCSC has released a new SMB cybersecurity guide. So NCSC is the UK's National Cybersecurity Centre, a font of lots of useful advice and good knowledge. This is a 10-page guide covering things like choosing good services, backing up your critical data, protecting your public domain name, separation of user accounts, securing user accounts, protecting admin accounts, defending online accounts from malware, security features built into things, recovering from a hacked account or service. And so on and so forth. Always worth a read. The stuff from the NCSC is very solid information. It's a very good starting point. So if you are working in a smaller organization, potentially an organization that doesn't have people with direct responsibility for cyber and it's just rolled up into IT, if you're curious about whether you're doing the right things in broadly the right way, always a good place to go and have a look. So yeah, recommend anybody. In fact, even if you are working in cybersecurity and you're working in very mature organizations, it's always worth a quick look at these things, just to see the as it were the state of the nation for organizations that maybe are not as mature as yours. Because that will help you to understand the challenges that other organizations are facing based on the current sorts of threats that are out there. Worth double checking just to make sure that everything that you're doing kind of aligns with this stuff. As I've said many times before, most of being secure, most cybersecurity is really just basic cyber hygiene. If you've got that nailed, you're going to close off maybe 80 odd percent of the attack surface that the majority of attack groups will utilize. And they're not, an attacker is unlikely to waste a 0-day exploit on an organization that they could compromise via a little bit of phishing or some SQL injection or some whatever it might be. So yeah, being aware of the current state of cyber basic hygiene is a very good thing. That's all from me for today. Hope you have a good Tuesday, and I'll speak to you all again.